You can't have a say over South Africans because South Africans are in South Africa doing what South Africans want to do. So we're saying go to your country, go to your government, and we will support you in whatever it is that you're complaining about. But that's not what they want to do. They just want to be in South Africa. You can't be running away from Nangwanga or Tinibu or whoever you're running away from and come to South Africa and we become a solution to your problem in your country.
Europe. I have a friend that's a trucker. He can travel from Italy to Austria. No stamping of passport. No immigration or nothing. Then one of the same people, then they decide today, my sister, so.
But why must Europe be a benchmark? We are not Europe. We have not reached European standards. We don't have European border control. We don't have European economy. We don't have European people. Look, when I started March and March, to be honest, I didn't know that there'd be so many negatives about it. Because, you sit there, you're like, oh my God, people are going through all these problems. Illegal immigration is so terrible. It's illegal immigration. But then you get into it and you start realizing, okay, there's people who actually defend this, who find ways of making it something that it's not, who will push propaganda. It becomes more political. I've come to realize that it seems like activism in South Africa is not separate from politics for some way and somehow. So you find yourself in that mix and, you just have to swim with the wave because at the end of the day, I didn't start this because I was bored. I think being on radio is active enough. There's a lot to do. Yeah. But, when something has to be done, it's something, as I always say, it was consistent in my dreams with children being taken out of the country through containers, etc., etc. And it was happening all the time. And a lot of people are not noticing some of the trends of things that were happening that have kind of died down, haven't stopped, but they've kind of decreased. And it's not because we want them to decrease. We want them to end completely. Yeah.
We were just saying earlier on that you just flew in now from Durban. There was a march in Durban.
Yeah. Yesterday. It was actually a picket where we wanted the SADC countries, since they were gathered outside of the ICC in Durban, to really listen to what we have to say. It doesn't make sense to go there and talk about deals that make you guys happy as people, but the people are still left in poverty in different situations. And the governments or the presidents of those respective countries, some of them are doing fine, they're okay, and those are the same people that don't give us a problem. But with the countries that are struggling in the SADC region, those are the ones that give us an absolute headache. And the worst part is there's a certain level of entitlement about South Africa that they don't have about their own countries, which always amazes me that you spend so much time focusing on South Africa, what South Africans are doing. But when your president is here, your own president and your own government that should be accounting to you, that you have a responsibility of drawing them back to what the people want, you go mute, you go quiet, you're not brave. The only bravery people who are not South African have that are in South Africa is to attack the South African government. It's a model that I find to be absolutely crazy. Yeah. You have your own government. You're not South African. Whether you like it or not, if South Africans decide to go and spring outside and walk around naked and that's not what you believe in, you can't have a say over South Africans because South Africans are in South Africa doing what South Africans want to do. So we're saying go to your country, go to your government, and we will support you in whatever it is that you're complaining about that makes life difficult for you. But that's not what they want to do. They just want to be in South Africa. I am consistent in my messaging that when we say go back to your country and fix it, it's because we want an Africa that works for all of us. Africa is one of the continents that, not even one, the continent with the richest continent, with the most minerals. But because of our leaders who are there in their positions until they're 91 years old, who are behaving like dictators, who instill fear in their people, and their people retaliate and retreat and then run to other countries as a solution, that's why we find ourselves here. We can't make running away to other people's countries a solution for every time we have a problem with our own government. Because I'm telling you today that the same way they're running to other countries and we are retreating now is is the same way we're going to be running to other people's countries because we're retreating against our own government. We must never retreat if we're unhappy with something that our government is doing. We must always let them know, hold them accountable. It's their problem that they left the borders open. And the minute we start saying, oh, the borders are open, if I say anything, I'm xenophobic, let me move to another country. What happens afterwards? We start becoming the very same people that we have a problem with in our own country. And we can't have that. We have a history in this country. People died for this country. I say this all the time. They didn't die so that we must be tourists in other countries because our country is falling apart. They didn't die so that we can sit for hours and grannies are dying in hospitals because they're not getting access. They didn't die so that people don't have access to schools and they're flocking into areas where they want to create economic opportunities for themselves because their countries are failing them. The same way our struggle heroes died for us is the same way they must be their own struggle heroes in their own country and die for their country. You can't be running away from Nangwanga or Tinibu or whoever you're running away from and come to South Africa and we become a solution to your problem in your country. If that's if that's the solution, trust me, every single person who's got a problem in their country is going to come to South Africa. Trust and believe me, in the minds of people who've made up their minds that they don't want illegal immigrants or people who are in the country illegally to leave because they are victims of their own country, anything that you say is wrong. But when you ask them practical things, they'll tell you, for example, the Eastern Cape is apparently closing down certain schools.
Oh, wow.
Because people are migrating from the Eastern Cape to come to other places where there's economic opportunities. They're not closing them down because we said illegal immigrants, foreigners are in schools. So it means that where the people in the Eastern Cape are relocating to, those schools are congested. On top of the congestion, there's other people now coming in from their own countries, bringing their own children to get this free education. We have about 250,000+ foreign children in our schools currently. Some of them are undocumented. And that is what we're saying, that all these opportunities that you are giving when those schools are closing, why don't you centralize those places and create schools that have swimming pools, that have tennis courts, that have things like robotics and other things that South African children can benefit from, instead of trying to create schools for more and more people to come in from outside? It doesn't make sense.
Guys, in Europe, I have a friend that's a trucker. He can travel from Italy to Austria. No stamping of passport, no immigration, no nothing. Then one of the same people, then they decide today, my sister, so.
But why must Europe be a benchmark? We are not Europe. We have not reached European standards. We don't have European border control. We don't have European economy. We don't have European people. We have black African people. We've got our own cultures, our traditions that we still want to preserve for ourselves without just opening the floodgates. First of all, no stamping of passports is absolutely not true. We've traveled to Europe. Border to border, you get your passport stamped. But second to that, we can't be putting European standards in a country that's not Europe. We don't have a Europe economy. Other African countries don't have a Europe economy. Now, they're all moving south. Everyone is coming downwards. And you want us to practice European standards where Spain is doing well, France is doing well in their own respective ways. So, which is exactly our messaging. Other African countries need to do well for themselves so that we can be good neighbors. So that people who are coming into the country are documented. We know who they are. We know what they're doing in the country, how long they're going to be staying, and when they're going to be going back. We are trading goods. That's why the truck is going in and out. It's not about the person who's driving the truck. It's about the goods that the person who's carrying with the truck. If that person decides he wants to live in Europe, he's not just going to live in Europe. He still has to follow a process. So people must stop conflicting issues. I still say, when you talk about Europe, Europe has standards that are adapted in Europe because Europe is an economy that is European. South Africans are struggling right now. Our South Africans have the youngest economy. We can't be now made to house everyone just because we're trying to keep up with European standards.